I worked in commercial radio for 40 years. When I arrived in the Columbus market, WCBE was my go-to station when I was not producing another radio show for my employer. Don't tell them that. I volunteered my services. 9 years later, I find myself as the general manager for the station that I love, that is near and dear to me.
My name's Mike Taylor, and I'm a radio broadcast specialist. That's what they're calling me these days. A lot of the artists we play will not be played on any other radio station in Central Ohio, maybe not even in the country. So when we find someone we like, we try to get them on the air. We try to get them into Studio A.
My name is Allison Holm. I'm the afternoon news anchor and reporter, and I've been at WCBE for 25 years. We once had, when I was on doing the newscast, we had the monitor start smoking and catch on fire. And I was in the middle of a newscast, and I couldn't stop. And so I had to wait until I had a soundbite and run to the door and shout out, "The studio's on fire!" and then run back in to finish that story and then go into the next one. So I'm pretty good about ignoring distractions.
My name is Maggie Brennan. I've been with WCBE since my internship since 1993. We'll be excited to have more kids involved and more programming with that, whether they're going to be hosting some of the shows or behind the scenes, or even some of the bands playing live in Studio A.
It's a nice, wholesome place where you can see how the radio gets made. I've been involved with the station since I was a teenager. Around 14 years old was the first time that I went in and did any volunteer work for them. The people who work there know their stuff and make a really great environment for a learning opportunity.
Before I came to WCBE, I was a professional jazz musician. And then I got a job at Fort Hays. On my first day of teaching, I ran out the door and I ran next door and I knocked on the door and I went and I said, "Who's playing that stuff? That is really cool." And then the secretary said, "I think you need to go in the back." So she let me in the back, and the next thing he was going to play was a piece of jazz music, and I have an encyclopedic knowledge of it. So I started telling him exciting things about the thing he was about to play. He said, "Wait just a minute." And he put a mic in front of my face, and for about 10 years then, I was Jim, the wacky sitcom neighbor next door. And I would just barge into people's radio shows and start talking.
It, number one, gave me an opportunity to reunite with Jim Manieri, who I knew from when he was in college and I worked at another radio station. And as a matter of fact, I hadn't had that type of conversation about music probably in 10, 15 years. That's one of the reasons why I do this.
So fun. I mean, I'm a radio girl anyways, but I also am the receptionist, so I get to greet them, bring them into the station, welcome them, and Chris Robinson Brotherhood came through, and Chris Robinson, I just love the Black Crowes, so meeting him, I was kind of geeking out a little bit.
I'm in my 23rd year, and probably the last handful have been the most rewarding and fulfilling. That combination that I love of music and story, the sort of story behind the music, that's a really good combination. When a listener says that they value that and they got something from that and they now are a fan of that artist, that is truly inspiring.
I've had a long relationship with WCBE. Years ago, I started a little show called Cinema Classics with a buddy of mine, John DeSando, and we've been talking about movies on there for years. And then the opportunity came up. There was a job opening, and I thought, wow, I love this place. I love the people that work there. I love the vibe there.
I still feel that it is a group of people who are making this all happen. And we're all counting on each other and building on what each other does. And that's an unusual and awesome experience.